So don't get me wrong, hiring people in the Philippines has really changed my life, but I've made some really big mistakes. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 major mistakes I made when hiring people in the Philippines. Man, this guy really took advantage of me. I've got 3 stories to share that will hopefully make it so you don't make the same mistake. I've also got 2 examples of mistakes that people make all the time when hiring people in the Philippines. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can find the very best people to hire in the Philippines. Okay, this first mistake is not something that I personally have made, but most people do. This is a very common mistake. I've talked to a lot of people, and whenever they tell me, yeah, I tried that outsourcing thing and it just doesn't work. Well, this is why, okay? So there's websites like this, Upwork, there's Fiverr.com, okay? These are great websites when you're hiring for an individual project, right? You need a logo designed or you need your website designed. That's not what virtualassistanttool.com is for. This website is not for hiring people on a project by project basis, but that's the biggest mistake that I've seen people make, is that they treat this site like that. So on those other sites, when you have a specific task, there are people competing that want to do that task. But here, people are looking for a long-term job, and I want to tell you that is so much more valuable. I mean, think, if you really want to grow your business, right? You want to work on your business, not in your business, then what you need to do is create systems within your business and then hire somebody to run that system. A great example is a video editor. Okay, I'm going to be filming videos all the time, then I can hire a video editor, not just to edit a single video, but that I can train to edit like I like to edit, and that they'll stick with me for years and years to come editing all of my videos. That is a great person to hire. Now at the end of this video, we'll come back to this website and I'll show you an example of how you could find a video editor or somebody like that. Now if you're still thinking like, but what's wrong with hiring somebody for a project? Well, that's just not going to grow your business. You are going to need to hire people to do specific projects, but I wouldn't consider that outsourcing. You can hire a USA company, you can hire a freelancer that's in another country, but that's not really outsourcing the way that I'm defining it in this video. That's just hiring somebody to do a project for you. That's hiring another company for a service that they offer. Or it's like buying their product. The big mistake that people make is they don't really leverage the full potential of outsourcing. I currently have 14 full-time employees in the Philippines. Full-time meaning 160 hours per month, and my total salary output is less than $10,000 a month. Now that's a big number, but I've got 14 full-time people in the Philippines. You can hire one person full-time in the Philippines for $450 a month. That's 8 hours a day. Imagine what you could have them do if they were working for you 8 hours a day and what time that would free up for you. Okay, the second mistake that I can talk about is paying people within the first week of a project. Often this will look like an applicant saying, hey, I'm really excited about working for you. Can you give me in advance? Or they'll say something like, I'm real hesitant about providing all this work and not getting paid. Can you pay me something up front and then pay me regularly after that? Now that sounds reasonable, but every time I've done that, I've gotten taken advantage of. I've sent money over, and granted, it hasn't been a huge amount, maybe just $100, but then I never see the person again. I've actually heard of this happening quite often among my friends and colleagues in business. Some things that I do to help them feel like they can trust me is I make a video of myself. Instead of just talking to them on the phone or sending them written correspondence, I'll make a video introducing them to myself. I'll introduce them to my team. I'll let them chat with my other Filipino team members. I'll tell them about my YouTube channel so they can check it out, and maybe even some of my clients' YouTube channels so they can see the work that we do. I'll really tell them about my company, I'll tell them about my history, and I'll let them know when payday is and what they can expect. There's also a step that I require that kind of turns the tables, because I want to know that I can trust them as well. And I let them know that, hey, this is how much I'm going to pay you. The first week, is going to be a trial. I'm going to pay you the same amount. Just want to make sure that you're a good fit for me, that I'm a good fit for you. And if that week goes great, then you're hired permanently, hopefully for years and years to come. All right, now this mistake came because I was new. This is my first person that I'd hired in the Philippines, and it's a great story. I learned a lot from it, but boy, did it not scare me away, because obviously I've been hiring people for 10 years now. But going back, I was still an employee. I worked for a company called Orange Soda. I was a telemarketer, but they also offered me an independent contractor position as an article writer. So I could write an article, submit it to them, and they would pay me $10 to $12 depending on the length of that article. They sent me a topic, I'd write an article, they'd pay me 10 or 12 bucks. During this time that I had this position, I was learning about outsourcing. And so I had a brilliant idea. What if I hired a writer in the Philippines that could write these articles for me? I thought this was genius. And it actually worked, okay? I hired somebody in the Philippines that was a great writer. I had assigned them the topic. They would write the article. I would then submit it. I'd get paid $10 or $12, and I'd pay a couple of dollars to my person in the Philippines. So this was leverage. So why is this a mistake? Well, at first it wasn't a mistake, but over time I made the mistake of not doing quality control. I just got lazy. I stopped reviewing her work. And after a while, I kind of thought, I read an article and I thought, did she really write that? So I used a tool, Grammarly, and I did a check on plagiarism or whatever it's called, and found that there was entire paragraphs that she had copied from other sources and put into this article. And then I went back into our history of articles that I'd submitted to my company and been paid for. The previous 50 articles, it was a nice round number, 50 articles had been plagiarized. And being a new boss, I was kind of immature. I didn't even talk to her about it. I just fired her on the spot. I went in the next morning and told my boss what I had done. The CEO of this big company, he just laughed. He thought it was funny. He thought it was pretty ingenious, but he wasn't the one supervising me in this role. So I went to this supervisor. He was a young kid, power trip, and he was mad. And he said I could never write any more articles for them again, except for he did make me rewrite the 50. Okay, so again, the mistake there, I should have just communicated better. I should have done quality control. Maybe she didn't know that that was bad. I don't know, but I didn't even talk to her about it. Quality control was the big mistake that I made there. But I do have to say, a couple months later, I actually quit my job and went full-time with a web design company. And within a couple months after that, I had built my team up to 10 full-time employees in the Philippines that were doing all the web design work. I had obviously caught the bug of this leverage that I could do with outsourcing. Okay, the biggest mistake I made was hiring Dane and not recognizing what was happening. I mean, this is kind of a doozy. So I've got to illustrate what happened here. So this is Dane. I hired Dane as a video editor, and I gave him a trial assignment, and he did a good job. He did a great job. In fact, he was looking to be one of the most valuable members of my video editing team. Now, I hired him for 160 hours a month, right? That's 8 hours a day. So Dane was supposed to work 160 hours per month in exchange for, okay, technically I paid him in Filipino pesos, not US dollars, but that was his job. Well, his work was a little bit slow, but because he delivered quality work, I didn't think anything else of it. I'm just like, okay, quality work takes time. Then I needed to hire another video editor, and Dane says, hey, you should hire my brother. He's really good. And I said, all right, let's give him a try. And I assigned his brother a trial assignment. I don't have a picture for his brother. That is the brother. So this is Dane's brother. And Dane, let's pretend he has a mustache. Because all villains have a mustache. Not a cool beard, but a mustache. Not a blue mustache. Maybe like a little, what's that, a Fu Manchu? So Dane's brother did a trial assignment, and it was pretty good. In fact, it was just as good as Dane. And I'm like, yes, we got 2 all-stars. So I hired Dane's brother for 160 hours per month. So I'm supposed to be with 2 people. I'm paying them for 320 hours of work. Several months go by and I start to get suspicious. I put on my secret agent hat and started to do some digging. And what I found out is Dane, I don't know if it's his real name, but he was doing work, but he was not doing 160 hours of work. He was doing about 80. Okay, 80 hours of work. And guess what? The brother did not exist. I found concrete evidence that he would sign out, sign back in, and do work as his brother and doing all different things. So I was paying for 320 hours worth of work, yet I was only getting 80. So Dane was making bank. He was probably doing this to other people as well. So what did I do? Well, as I was doing my investigation, I told my assistant Ringo. He's very loyal, been with me many, many years. I fully trust him. I told him of my suspicions and he said, you know what? I thought something strange was going on as well. And we both did some research. I found all this concrete evidence. And so what we did, we disabled his company email address. We blocked all of his access to all of my client accounts, to my Dropbox files, to the YouTube accounts, to our video editing software. We protected ourselves, basically shut everything down, and I sent him a quick email saying, this is what we discovered. We know that you've been doing this. You're fired. I'm hesitant to tell stories like that because that one is kind of a doozy, and I do highly, highly recommend that you hire people in the Philippines. In my 10.5 years, that's happened once. That's happened one time, and it makes everything else so very worth it. So don't let this discourage you from giving it a try. I highly, highly recommend that you hire people in the Philippines. So with that, I do have one more mistake to share. Okay, another big mistake that I made was actually having people hired in the Philippines for 9 years before I visited them. It's been 10.5 years now that I've been hiring people in the Philippines. I just didn't ever have a reason to, but when I learned that at certain times in the year I could fly round trip from USA to the Philippines for under $500, I jumped on it. But visiting my team for the first time was a big game changer. I mean, when I met my team for the very first time for dinner, everyone was gathering around. It really brought a whole bunch of emotion to me. I was overwhelmed. I realized the impact that I had on their livelihoods and how much they relied upon me for their employment. But instead of just seeing them maybe as robots as I saw them previously, now I saw them as people, and they were all individuals working from their home, but they were all together, getting along, having a good time, having fun conversations. Now, we did some fun things. My first time visiting in 2018, we hiked up the Taal volcano. That volcano this year erupted and sent huge plumes of ash miles and miles into the sky. They had to evacuate miles and miles around this volcano. In fact, one of my team members had to be evacuated this year. I did go back this year. We did some other things like some escape rooms that were really fun. Just lots of good team building activities and meals where we could have fun. And I do have to say, the Philippines is also an amazing place to vacation. So while you go there to visit your team, I recommend doing what I did. I spent 5 days on a remote island all alone. Just check out a few clips here. Okay, I've actually got a full episode about that. I vlogged about it, so I'll just link to it right up there. Okay, now let me give you a tour of how to find a video editor. I'm gonna log in here. Okay, one thing that you can do is you can actually come up here and post a job. This is a common way to do it. I'm gonna show you a more direct way that you can actually filter and find the right people that you're looking for. In rare cases, the filters don't work because the position you're looking for or the skill set you're looking for isn't within the search parameters. And so then you'll come and you can post a job and people will find you. But now I'm going to show you the way that I love to do it. You just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the website and you find Advanced VA Search. All right, this is awesome. So you see that there are a lot of different categories, from English to writing, marketing and sales. We're going to come here to graphics and multimedia. And there's a lot of different categories with up to 5-star ratings. So I can come right here, select 5 stars. Now, they've rated themselves 5 stars is what I'm filtering it for here, but there's a limit to how many categories they can rate themselves in 5 stars. I can add a secondary skill if I want to. I'm going to come up here and set a few more parameters. I'm looking for people that are available full-time. I want an ID proof score greater than 70. This will filter out duplicate accounts or people who really aren't who they say they are. And I want people that have a picture. And then with that, I'm going to look for somebody that mentions Premiere, Adobe Premiere. You can see I've done that search before. All right, so now when I hit Refine Search Results, there are 438 people. So I'd probably narrow it down a little bit more, but just to give you an idea, You know, there are over 8 pages here. This guy, Ian, he's asking for $700 a month. He's available full-time. He's got a bachelor's degree. He's got a very high ID proof score. There's his nice photo. So here's a person asking for $602 a month. This person, wow, they're asking a lot, $1,300 a month. You'd want to find out why. Is this person so good? Even members of my team that have worked for me for many years, I don't pay that amount. Okay, here's a guy asking $500 a month, $600 a month, $600 a month, $1,000 a month, $400 a month. Just because she's asking for lower and this guy's asking for lower, I'm going to show you. I'm going to click on Christine here. Okay, so $401 a month is 20,000 Filipino pesos a month. That equates to like $2.28 per hour. She's 21. You can see some stats there. She says, I'm very interested in graphic design. I've done plenty of posters for school events. I also do photography, photo, and video editing. So video editing isn't her primary skill. She's interested in graphic design, and she also does video editing. And you come down here to top skills, she actually has only one area rated 5, and that's video editing. So I would create a list of maybe between 30 and 50 applicants like this that I can then send a direct message to. And I wasn't actually planning on going into depth on this in this video, but I'm gonna share some golden nuggets right now, okay? So this is how I find and hire the right people. Again, I narrowed the list down to about 30 or 50 people, and I send them a direct message. You come up here and you click Contact Worker. I'm actually gonna show you one of my email templates, full-time video editor. So it says, Christina, I reviewed your profile, really like what I see. I've been hiring great people in the Philippines for over 9 years now. Now it's been over 10. I currently have 11, now it's 14, full-time employees in the Philippines. One of my current video editors has worked for me since 2010. We currently produce 10 daily YouTube channels, now it's 12. Anyway, we've grown a lot. We need to add another video editor to our team. If you're available to work full-time, interested in 40 hours per week of video editing using Adobe Premiere, please reply back, and I'll give you a lot more details about the position. And I give them some credibility pieces they could look up. So I didn't give them a whole lot of info. I basically said, here's a little bit of information about my company. If you want to know more details about how to reply, email me back. When they reply back saying, yes, I'm interested, I'm available full-time, can you let me know more details about this position? So what I do is I actually make a selfie video. So I talk directly to them through my camera and say, so I'm Nate Woodbury, I'm the owner of the company, and I just want to introduce myself to you. So I talk about myself, I talk about my company, I might do a screen capture where I show my website. I talk for about 5 minutes, both explaining who I am, what we're looking for, and that I want them to make a video on their phone and send it back to me telling me about them, that I want them to talk for about 5 minutes introducing themselves to me and why they feel they'd be a good fit for the company. I also explained that I would love to see their portfolio. I'd love to see videos that they have edited. Now that serves as a great filter, right? Not many people are willing to go through the steps of making a video for me just to apply. I don't think I want to hire those people. Out of the 30 or 50 that I contact, I'll probably get a dozen video applications. And from there, I can look at their personality to see if they'd be a good fit for the company. I can look at their portfolio to see if they've done good work. And I can hear about their experience. I can usually tell by their personality and their video application if they have good work ethic and stuff like that. These are just things that I am looking for during their video application. Now here's one more secret. I will typically hire 2 or 3 people for one position. One reason is because they're so affordable, I can afford to do that. And 1 or 2 of them are probably gonna fizzle out and just disappear. And 1 of them or 2 of them are gonna be really strong and reliable. So if this is your first time, I might narrow the list down to 2. 2 people that you think are the best of the applicants and hire them and say, okay, I'm really excited to hire you. This is how much I'm gonna pay you. This first week is a trial. You're gonna be paid for this first week, whether it works out or not. Why I call it a trial, because you are gonna be doing real work for us, working full-time, 8 hours a day. The reason I call it a trial is I just wanna make sure that we're the right fit for you, that you really enjoy this position, and I want to make sure that you're the right fit for us, make sure that you're doing the work that we're looking for. Assuming everything works out great, at the end of that week, you'll just continue doing the same work and hopefully you'll work for us for many years to come. Okay, so if you are new to this channel and you haven't heard me talk about why I hire people in the Philippines versus any other place in the world, then I definitely recommend you check out this video up there, or I'll link to it at the very end of this video. Got to watch that video on why I hire people in the Philippines.